Men, in today's video we're going to be talking about diabetes, specifically type 2 diabetes, and how you may be able to get rid of it in an extremely short space of time, which is a very unpopular belief, especially when you're embedded in the medical system, whether that be in the United States or the UK, and you're on medication, and all you've ever heard off your family and friends is, that's just the way it is. That's you now for the rest of your life. Some small changes, like one of the gentlemen on the longevity program makes over a 12-week period, resulted in his type 2 diabetes going into remission. Now, remission is when your long-term blood sugars fall below the diabetes level and stay there for at least 3 months, without the need for glucose-lowering medication. In medical terms, this is having HbA1c below 48 mils, or 6.5%. A little bit nerdy. However, my promise to you is I'm going to give you that full process of start to finish, why I made the decisions I made in order to guide him into getting rid of this issue that he was having. I'm going to share with you my thought processes and why I made the decisions I made. And yeah, there's a lot to get through. I reckon just over 20 minutes I'll be done. Hopefully it's useful to you. Get rid of type 2 diabetes. This is what I did. If it works for you, absolutely phenomenal. Just don't always believe what people say who haven't done this themselves. There is solutions to every problem, gentlemen. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Paul Green. I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. Most of my time in the paras, I was a physical training instructor, and I was looked at as a subject matter expert on all matters in the PT world. People would come to me for advice on health, fitness, performance, and it was essentially our job to get as many people out the door on operations as possible, while also maintaining them having reducing the amount of injuries that the unit was having. So a big job. However, the other side of the coin was the health stuff, and I've been massive into my nutrition, like a massive hobby of mine for the past decade. I absolutely love all of this stuff, and nowadays I'm fully online, and I train men over the age of 40 on the longevity program, which is a laser-focused strength and conditioning service, fully online, focused on improving the amount of time in which you can do your adventure or extreme sports or your martial arts. And at the very least, getting you back to doing them disciplines, the disciplines that are so important to mental health, if you've had some time off. The plan for today, I'm going to go around the background of this gentleman, everything regarding input in what he was eating, the output in which he was prescribed, how I managed it throughout his 12-week process. And my aim for this is to give you all the tools, give you as many tools as possible so you could potentially get rid of this issue and not have to jump on the longevity program. So if that sounds like something that you would find interesting, absolutely get yourselves comfortable. Right, background data. Start weight 119.7. Body fat percentage, my prediction on this picture that he sent me on week 0 is his body fat is 40%, around the 40% mark. His current medication he was taking is statins for his diabetes. Other background data, they're the 3 data points in which I need, plus the photo, very important at the start, week 0 of the longevity program. Other information which was useful to me to build that picture is he is a judo black belt and coach, trains judo twice per week. He's also a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt and trains that once per week on average, sometimes more, sometimes less. He had a rotator cuff injury, I think it was on his left shoulder. He could only train at home, didn't have access to a gym, he just trained in his garage, and his time frame was 1 block on the longevity program, 1 training block on the longevity program. So that was all the information I needed to craft this plan, which I'm going to share with you, every single detail of it and why I came to the decisions that I came to. So the first thing I do with that data is I generate his meal plan. So I have to calculate the numbers. I have to put in his numbers and use them as a guide for his first week. And that's a calorie calculator. So I have to put in his body weight. I have to put in his predicted body fat percentage. Obviously, these are all predictions. And that will generate a calorific output based on his predicted muscle mass. However, that number is altered with his activity levels every week. So me taking into consideration his current output of 3 moderate sessions per week is in the grappling world, plus my 3 very intense strength training sessions, I was conservative and kept him in the 3 to 5 sessions per week range for developing his meal plan. However, the caveats to this is every time you do a meal plan for somebody, it has to be extremely simple. It has to be simple enough that they can prepare the meals consistently without any extra stress, and also simple enough that you could maybe have a lot of these meals cold and still find them relatively enjoyable. The huge caveat to this meal plan was it had to reverse his type 2 diabetes and lose body fat and increase muscle mass. Another thing, the meal plan had to provide energy to perform to a high standard in the gym, not just in the weights room, in his garage, but on the mats as well. It had to provide the nutrients to recover from the training sessions and get stronger. It's not just about performance in the gym. If you have one hero performance in the gym, but can't recover from that session the next day or the next couple of days, it's pointless. If you take a week to recover from an absolute lunatic session, it's not effective. So this is all the considerations that are going through my head when I'm generating the meal plan. You've got the numbers, and then you've got the rules. And these are the rules which are necessary. Reverse type 2 diabetes. The way I did that, I'm going to show you each meal. I'm going to talk through them in a sec. I had to basically remove grains and sugar from his diet. Lose body fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit. Increase muscle mass, you have to train strength to a high standard, effective strength training, and have a high protein intake. Energy to perform to a high standard came from fats. Nutrients to recover, he was eating very nutrient dense foods from the training sessions and get stronger. So hopefully that all makes sense. That's my thought processes. Please use a similar thought process for yourself if you have these issues. So his input on week 1 is a guess. I'm not some frigging wizard who can predict the exact amount of calories in which you should be eating. However, where the true art of this comes is when you make adjustments later on down the line, when it's not quite going your way. So I'm going to talk about his meal plan. Meal 1, butter, eggs, cheddar cheese. 478 calories, 32 grams of protein, low on the carbs, high on the fat. Pretty straightforward, yeah? And I said to him, one of the key things I say with meal 1, with all of my guys that are on weight loss, is push that meal back as far as you can. Don't just simply get out of bed and start cooking when your body hasn't even woke up yet. Push that meal back a couple of hours, a few hours if you can, until you're genuinely hungry, and just run the morning with coffee. Water for the first hour, then coffee, and then happy days. You can have your breakfast when you need it. Do you know what I mean? So these are his numbers overall, his overall macros on week 1. Meal 2, I hope you were wondering. I went with chicken as the main protein, and you've got vegetables, which is just a mixed veg, tomatoes, cucumber, olive oil, feta cheese. So you've got a protein source, you've got lots of fibre from veg, bit more fats from olive oil, and feta cheese. And again, 471, 53 grams of protein, 6 grams of carbs, 25 grams of fat. And you start to see the rules that I talked about, my strategy, coming to fruition here. Snack, mid-afternoon, or wherever it fit with his training. Tuna, olives, feta cheese. Pretty straightforward. Again, 328, 27 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs, 23 grams of fat. Pre-gym. So he needed to have pre-gym. He needs to have a good amount of fats, because fat's his main energy source. Greek yogurt, full fat Greek yogurt, frozen berries for a bit of flavour, chia seeds again, a little bit more fats there. 276 calories, 12 grams of fat, pretty straightforward. Post gym, he's having a shake with almond milk, cacao powder, and almond butter. Again, good amount of protein, good amount of fats, low on the carbs. And his evening meal, salmon, asparagus, olive oil, and cream cheese. 505, 45 grams of protein, 3 grams of carbs, 32 grams of fats. So that's his meal plan. And the strategy summarised, I'm going to make myself smaller. What am I doing? No grains, no sugar. Energy comes from triglycerides, which is the fatty sugar, resulting in barely any hunger during the day. A very balanced energy levels. You don't get highs and lows. It's very sustained. It's a very unique thing. If you've done this before, great. You'll understand what I mean by this. It's strange when you're not getting hungry, and it's very satisfying being never having low energy and rarely having high energy. You've just got a nice balance and the simplicity of it. I cannot be having a complex meal plan because he just won't stick to it. It has to be simple. Now, the reason diabetes comes around is excess of this. Processed grains and awful types of sugar. I didn't even ask him what he ate every day before he went on the longevity program. I didn't say, what do you eat? I don't care. I don't need to know this. It's just literally a clean slate, draw the line in the sand, eat this now, mate. He's like, all right, Roger, sound. So I have no doubt in my mind that there was probably fizzy drinks, excessively high in glucose fructose syrup, really processed sugar, processed grains, heavily processed grains and heavily processed sugars. I have no doubt in my mind that was in abundance of his lifestyle for 10 years, 20 years, maybe even 30 years of his life. He's over 50-year-old. Not anymore, son, not anymore. So there's the summary of the meal plan. Now we're going to move on to the output, which is the training plan, the development of the training plan. I make the meal plan first. I send the draft out to the guys, and then they tell me, this is going to be an issue. Can you maybe put this in? And we have a little moment, like a day or two of flex, and then it's boom, that's set in stone. Once that's set in stone, the output then becomes my priority in generating the strategy for the training plan. So he's already grappling, so it's fair enough. So I have to think, how much volume can I give him, given the fact that he's never really strength trained properly ever in his life. And one that I like to do a 3-day training split with people that are active in their disciplines, whether that be mountain biking, rock climbing, grappling, whatever it might be, free running, skydiving. I like to just run an upper body, lower body, upper body split. The reason I chose to double up on the upper body sessions is because he did say that he had a rotator cuff issue. So I really wanted to hammer his rotator cuff strength. If it was a knee issue, I'd have ran 2 lower body sessions. So I do like the 3-day training split for people that are doing other disciplines and they have other commitments, especially if they're running their own gyms and stuff like that. So this split didn't change. And one crucial bit of advice I have for you is, if it works, don't change it. If you're getting gains from a certain thing, don't change it. Don't change it because you're bored. Run it into the ground until you are no longer getting results, then make some small changes. Seriously. And this was working an absolute treat. I'm going to bring you all the data up and I'm going to show you the training sessions that we did, absolutely everything. And you'll see it straight away. So this is my rules. Pretty straightforward in the coaching sense for me. However, the only real caveat is he was limited to his garage, which is very limited space, and he could only use dumbbells. So again, not too complicated from my point of view. The main concern for me was the meal plan adherence. So the output additional, he's doing his 3 sessions per week grappling. He's running 1 session a week as well on the weekend, and he's doing 10,000 steps per day. Again, didn't have to alter this at all. Absolutely unbelievable. The only thing I altered was, well, I'll talk about it in a sec. So that's his output for the week. Stick to that. Stick to the meal plan. Stick to the training plan, and you will get the results in which you desire. So that's simple. However, we are human beings, and we're a little bit crazy if we don't prepare well in certain parts of the day. So I'm going to go into exactly what we did. I'm going to show you the strength sessions now. I'm going to try and do it quickly. Dumbbells only sessions. We have... Right, so we've got lower body 1. I'm going to go to upper body 1 to start things off with. And we're on the 18th of September, again a few months ago. We've got his start weight, his finish weight on his 12-week block. And very simple stuff. I'm using the best exercises in which he can gain the most strength, most muscle with dumbbells only. Flat dumbbell chest press, incline chest press, pullovers. I love the pullovers, geezers. Chest assisted dumbbell row. Wide dumbbell row, working at mid traps. Banded high elbow rotations, which is, I like to call this the French painting. Actually, no, it's not the French painting. Just rotating, working the rotator cuff. Different rotator cuff exercise. Dumbbell shoulder press, dumbbell lateral raises, standing bicep curls. A lot of exercises, but I like to program things 1, 2, 1, 2. You're doing 2 sets per exercise, job done, see you in a bit. There's his upper body workout. We'll go with his lower body one. Heels elevated goblet squat, an absolute money maker for the old and crusty cohort, because it allows them and their limited ankle mobility to get into the deeper ranges and truly strengthen the knee. Dumbbell RDLs, pretty straightforward. However, it is tricky to get people to lift correctly, especially when they're leaning forward. Dumbbell split squat, working again, deeper ranges of the knee joint, strengthen the knees. Dumbbell single leg deadlift. Burpees in there, bit of dynamic. Because he's very heavy, we could use this really well to actually tap into some basic athleticism and strength, explosive strength. Just because of his weight, I just thought I'd tap into that as well. Dumbbell hamstring curl. We couldn't do the hamstring curls because we don't have a gym, so we had to do the dumbbell version. Elephant walk, which is a mobility exercise to increase the mobility of the hamstrings. Cool. And then the next one is going to be upper body 2, where it's similar to upper body 1 with a couple of differences. Anyway, you can see how I'm just going to go back to the slides to make sure I'm on track, because I don't want to waffle. I'm giving you everything, but I'm trying to keep it concise. So there's the training plan. Feel free to use that, copy it. You know, this is amazing. Bear in mind, he's over 50-year-old, limited mobility, grappled all of his life, ate terribly all of his life. And this is what worked for him. Now, if you want to know the form and technique and everything, right, I'm sure I've got videos on the techniques of these exercises. You've seen the reps, you've seen the weight that he started. So anyway, management of progress. This is the most important thing. And this is why online coaches can make a full-time job, is because they do this really well. Now, anybody can go, there's a program, mate, stick to that, happy days. There's a meal plan, stick to that. It's how you manage the person's progress is where the money is made. Like, this is the art. And this is the bit that I really I really enjoy subtly making changes to get somebody results consistently. Anyway, this is not about what I enjoy, it's about what has worked for me, and in particular what worked for this gentleman on this 12-week training block. So, management of progress, he had to weigh himself every morning. He had to take photos of himself every week. And them two collectively, them two data points would mean I would consider changing the meal plan slightly. However, one of the mistakes that people do a lot of is they jump to reducing calories first. What I would advise is that you increase the output first a couple of times, add more cardio in for the week, add more steps in for the week, and then reduce the calories. So these two data points would mean I'm going to make a change if these two are not both heading in the right direction. And typically on the longevity program, you can expect on a normal training block where someone has not got a crazy time-bound goal, a 1% weight reduction per week. We do it in a manner that keeps energy high, keeps focus high, and all the goods. It's not just about losing weight, because you want to be in a decent state at the end of it. So I do things in a very sneaky manner. Another thing, we track the data of all the workouts. As you've just seen, all the workouts are there, how many reps he's done, what weight he's lifted, and you can see the progression week by week. And also he can look back and see the weight that he lifted and the amount of reps for the previous week. Tracking your workouts is so important for keeping you motivated to improve on your previous self. And what I mean by your previous self, yourself last week. That's how quick the improvements are. And what you can expect is you can expect 1 or 2 reps maybe every single week. And that is a lot. So if you're training at the right intensity, you're training well, you can expect to make improvements on this, on your recovery, or on your technique every single week. So you've seen that. I'll show you how I track daily weight. So you've got his pictures here every week that he posted, and then his daily habits, which would be back in the day. Where are we at here? So there's his daily weights. And as you can see, he started on this platform at 116.5. The previous platform that I used to use, he started a lot heavier. And as you can see, every single day, he was posting his weight, and then it came down. Because we stuck to the plan, and we made the right changes when we needed to make changes. Another thing that we do to manage progress, and if you haven't got a coach, this is a bit of a shame. However, you can still do this without a coach. You basically have to have an aspiration of achieving perfect technique. Right, straight away, it's a mindset thing. I do this with all the guys on the longevity program. I will analyse their training, some of their exercises, and I will give them feedback. And what that looks like is this. You can do this on your own if you want to. I'm just going to move my face You know what? I'm going to just shut up for a second. This is what it looks like.
2. Control. The 1 second pause is there this time. Awesome. 1, 2. Beautiful. Beautiful. Different cap today. Cap game, strong. 3. He's powering out of it to make sure he gets the intensity.
So you see, every time he'd train, every time he'd have any concerns, he'd be sending me his he'd be sending me his form clips. And what I'm looking for then is his intensity at the required standard, is his execution at the required standard, and is he maintaining good tempo? They're the 3 things I'm looking at in the form clips. So if you are doing this alone, then I challenge you to have this level of accountability for your own videos. There's plenty of nerds out there nowadays that can give you all the techniques. It's just about you having the courage to just bang a camera up and have a look at your own technique and go and be critical. Be really critical of your own performance. Were you training hard, really hard, close to failure? Were you executing the exercises like someone on the internet that does these exercises really well? If not, why? Could you then make the exercise a little bit easier to ensure that your technique is a little bit better? Are you maintaining good control of the movement? Does that make sense? So, just go back one sec. To conclude, my promise to you is this video will give you the full strategy I used to get rid of my client's type 2 diabetes in 12 weeks. I say get rid of. My strategy was a guide. He still had to show up every day and put in the work. He still had to commit to a new meal plan and put a lot of trust in me. And turn a blind eye on the doctors. Turn a blind eye on the nurses that have said a certain thing for the past decade, that give him the medication, that tell him to take this medication. He put a lot of trust into me. And another thing I did with him as well is before I issued this meal plan, I give him the research. I said, mate, look, this is what we're going to do. This is the research behind my decisions. Are you happy with this? And I sent him a study. And I sent him a study on how this meal plan, why this meal plan, why a strategy like this will reverse his type 2 diabetes. He was laughing his head off thinking, who's this guy? This is ridiculous. What a ridiculous statement to make. Anyway, he stuck at it for 12 weeks. And if some of you have got Instagram, you can see his testimonial on my page. And, you know, he explains about his blood work and stuff like that he had done. And yeah. Gentlemen, the most important thing about this video is, yes, I've showed you the process. You can copy and paste this process if you've got type 2 diabetes. That would be absolutely amazing. The key thing I really want you to take away from this is my thought processes for making the decisions I did along the way. And if I've missed anything, if you think that I wish he mentioned that, drop it in the comments below, because these slides, you can see, nearly 30 minutes now. I'm doing it live. You know, I do care about getting the information across, but I am a human as well, and I do sometimes skip through certain things. And just to wrap it up, man, is change isn't for everybody. You know, tracking data means that you are regularly looking at yourself in the mirror. You're not going to lie. And if you do lie to a data point, you're just lying to yourself. It's not for everybody. And there's a lot of people that would rather continue to eat heavily processed grains and heavily processed sugars. And I'm not saying just eat them, because let's be honest, we're all human. We all like to enjoy these foods every once in a while. But when most of your diet is made of heavily processed grains, I'm talking white flour, bleached white flour, and all the other things, cereal, and then the sugars, the fizzy drinks, when that's the most part of your diet, your blood sugar is just going to get up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Your body's going to, what on earth are you doing to me, man? Give me a breather. And that was my mentality from the start. Give this man's body a breather. Because it's constantly wrong types of carbohydrates, no sustained carbohydrates. So, change isn't for everybody. People will listen to people that say, it's not going to change, it's just the way it is. People will not like to input a strategy into their life that, you know, means that they get rid of these health issues. It's hard, but fair play to him. You know, he did it, and he's doing absolutely amazingly at currently as well. So, yeah, what a great thing to talk about. Gentlemen, I hope you appreciate the video. Thank you for sticking around. I do appreciate your time. 30 minutes now. Hopefully you learned something. yeah, if you did, let us know. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel for my daily videos. See you in a bit.